If this found you, it's not an accident. There's a reason your mind keeps going back to the same thoughts, the same feelings, the same invisible loop you can't seem to break. Maybe you've noticed it. You try to move forward, but something pulls you back. You decide to think positively, and suddenly doubt creeps in again. You promise yourself this time will be different, but somehow it ends the same way. And after a while it starts to feel exhausting, confusing, even a little hopeless. Because a part of you wonders, why does this keep happening to me? But here's the truth that most people never fully understand. It's not that your mind is broken, it's that your mind is trained. Right now, your brain is not choosing new thoughts, it's replaying familiar ones. Not because they're true, but because they're known. Your mind is designed to keep you safe, not free. And what feels safe to your brain is what feels familiar, even if that familiarity is anxiety, self-doubt, or emotional pain. Over time, certain emotional patterns become wired into your system. Maybe it started years ago, a moment where you felt rejected, a time when you felt like you weren't enough, a situation that made you question your worth. And in that moment, your mind created a meaning, a quiet belief, something like, I'm not good enough. I always mess things up. Things never work out for me. You didn't choose those thoughts consciously, but your body felt them deeply. And that's where the pattern begins, because the body doesn't forget emotional experiences. It stores them. And according to neuroscience, every time you think the same thought and feel the same emotion, you strengthen that neural pathway. So what you're experiencing right now is not just thinking, it's conditioning. Your mind is repeating the past because your body has memorized it. That's why it feels automatic. That's why it feels like it happens before you can stop it. And here's the part that changes everything. You are not stuck in this pattern, but you are identified with it. There's a difference. Right now, when the thought appears, you believe it. When the feeling arises, you become it. But what if you could observe it instead? What if that voice in your head isn't actually you? This is where awareness begins, because the moment you notice the pattern, without reacting to it, you create space. And in that space, something powerful happens. You are no longer inside the loop, you are looking at it. This is what Eckhart Tolle describes as presence. It's the ability to witness your thoughts without being consumed by them. And in that moment of witnessing, the pattern loses its control. Not instantly, not dramatically, but subtly, because you are no longer feeding it with unconscious attention. And this is where many people misunderstand change. They try to fight the thought. They try to replace it immediately. They try to force positivity. But resistance is still attention, and attention is energy. So the pattern continues. Instead, what shifts everything is awareness without judgment. When the thought appears, I'm not good enough, you don't argue with it, you don't suppress it, you simply notice, there it is again. No drama, no story, just awareness. And something inside you begins to detach. Because you're no longer saying, this is me. You're seeing, this is a pattern. And that simple shift is the beginning of freedom. But awareness alone is just the first step. Now comes the reprogramming. Because once you stop feeding the old pattern, you create space for a new one. And this is where intention matters. You don't need dozens of affirmations. You don't need to force belief. You just need a new direction, a gentle, consistent signal to your mind and body. Something simple was like, I am learning to trust myself. I am safe to think differently. I don't have to repeat the past. At first it might feel unfamiliar, even uncomfortable. That's okay. Because unfamiliar doesn't mean wrong, it means new. And your brain needs repetition, not perfection. So instead of trying to feel amazing instantly, just practice interrupting the old loop, gently, consistently. There's also something deeper happening here. This pattern you're experiencing is not just a problem, it's a signal that part of you is ready to wake up. Because if you were completely unconscious, you wouldn't even notice the loop, but you do. And that awareness is your turning point. This is not happening to you, it's happening for you. It's showing you where you've been living on autopilot. It's inviting you to choose differently, not all at once, but moment by moment, thought by thought. And here's something important to remember. You don't break patterns by force. You outgrow them through awareness, because every time you pause, every time you observe, every time you choose not to react, you weaken the old wiring. And over time, what once felt automatic becomes optional. And then, eventually, it disappears. Not because you fought it, but because you stopped being it. So the next time your mind repeats that familiar pattern, don't panic, don't judge yourself, just notice. This is the loop. Take a breath, come back to the present moment, and remind yourself, I am not my past, I am not this pattern, I am the one who sees it. And in that moment, you've already begun to change. If this message resonated with you, it means you're already becoming more aware, more present, more in control of your inner world. And that's just the beginning. There's so much more to understand about how your mind works, how your emotions shape your reality, and how you can consciously shift both. So subscribe to the channel and continue this journey with me. And if you're ready to go deeper, watch the next video, where we explore how to rewire your mind at a deeper level and finally step out of these patterns for good. Because the moment you understand your mind is the moment you begin to free yourself